introduction to working by referral. I've spent the last 30 years of my life as both an agent and as a coach and trainer developing a system on how to work by referral and generate quality leads on purpose. Today I'm going to try to distill all of that information down into 15-20 minutes with you, okay? So I'm going to cover three things with you. First, I'm going to cover the law of the harvest. The law of the harvest. That's the philosophy the whole system's based on. Second, we're going to cover the stacking effect. And the stacking effect is the actual system on how we go and get referrals every day in our work life. And then third, we're going to cover the ABCs of real estate. The ABCs. We're going to talk about A, the agent, you and your energy. B, we're going to talk about how this business actually works. And C, we're going to talk about the seasonality of the actual customers we serve. The law of the harvest is a very, very powerful principle. And like many laws, you're aware of them. And you're aware that when you follow certain laws, you win, and when you break certain laws, you lose. There's certain laws that no matter what you do, they are there, whether you observe them or not. For example, we have the law of gravity. What goes up? Exactly. The law of the harvest is you reap what you sow. What goes around? These principles. These are principles. And so what we've done is tapped into this principle. And the number one principle of the law of the harvest is ultimately about giving. We want to empower you to be a giver. We want you to embrace what we call the giver's guide to greatness. In their heart, everybody wants to be a giver. But the truth of the matter is, does it work? How many of you, by a show of hands, you think you're a giver? Honestly, how many of you think you are? All right. But you also have this other little voice in your head that says, good guys finish. So you're a giver, but you don't want to be last. Is that true? In our system, what we've proven for the past 30 years is that good guys and good gals get to win. And you get to be a giver. Now, not just giving in any old way at any old time. We're going to show you how to give, when to give, and what to give. But ultimately, the law of the harvest is based on this. You first give. And that's 80% of your energy and time in this system is on giving. How many of you like the sound of that? Yeah? I'd like to be a giver. Then we're going to teach you how to ask. And that'll be about 10% of your time and energy. Let me ask you this question. Have you ever given to somebody over and over again and not received anything back? Yeah, it makes you gun shy, doesn't it? Now, the giving system is not, I'm going to give to you, now you owe me. Or I'm going to give to you and I have an expectation of you, or a frustration if you don't give back to me. The giver's mindset is, I'm going to give to everybody, but I'm going to be on the lookout to see who gives back. Who raises their hand. Because when you give to a giver, givers give back. That's a fun thought. Would you guys agree? Not everybody gives to the same degree in the same way. But if you don't learn to ask, and we're going to teach you how to ask skillfully, very respectfully, in a way that actually very complementary to your own personality. So we're going to give, then ask, then you'll grow. And this will be about 10% of your time and energy. You'll be growing yourself and your business. And you say, man, I want to grow more than 10%. When you give 80%, and you spend your time and energy here, you can grow your business 100-fold. We've seen this happen many, many times. We've trained so many people who've doubled and tripled and quadrupled their income in a year following our system. Give first, then ask, then grow. And so the law of the harvest, by its very nature, is a farming analogy, is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to plant some seeds. Right? You reap what you what? Now, wouldn't you agree that if you only plant a few of these bad boys, you're only going to get a few returns? So the seed is the lead generation activities. The lead generation activities. Later on, I'm going to talk to you about this stacking effect. That's when this lead generation activity goes to work. Where do you plant the seeds? Where do you plant the seeds? Are some land more fertile than others? Okay? Some's super fertile, some's kind of fertile, and some's kind of rocky and craggy. So where do we spend our time? Where do we plant the seeds? The soil in this system is your database. That's your list of relationships. And then the harvest itself, well, those are the referrals you receive, and that's what we all want. We all want those. Now, we have the law of the harvest, and then we have another principle that come together, called the Pareto principle. Vilfredo Pareto, an Italian economist, who discovered that 20% of the people in Italy owned 80% of the real estate. He later then discovered that 20% of the parishioners gave 80% of the money to the church. He then discovered that 20% of the customers in most businesses provided 80% of the commerce and the money. The 80-20 rule, you know, another very solid principle. We embrace the Vilfredo-Pareto principle and the law of the harvest together as the foundation of the working by referral system. And what does it mean? You can write this down. 80% of your results will come from 20% of your people. I want you to think about that. 80% of your results will come from 20% of your people, which means you don't have to be all things to everybody and burn yourself out trying to reach everybody. In my real estate business, I did not try to market to everybody in San Diego. I focused my energies. Now let me share with you how to find out where to focus your energy, because view this like this is all the land you own. This is your database. And we want to find out the most fertile soil to plant the lead generation seeds. You follow me? So the A-plus people, these would be the people who've sent you multiple referrals. More than one referral. This would be someone you would call an advocate. Maybe you're new to the business. Somebody who's really sold on you. An A would be someone who's most likely to refer you. And an example of that would be a past client or someone who's referred you before. The B's, now this is kind of tricky, but the B's are someone who would refer you if you asked them. Most agents don't ask. Remember the principle? Give, what's the second part? Ask and grow. We're going to teach you how to ask in a way that you're not a pushy salesperson. C's, these would be people who might refer you in the future, and a way to remember that would be new additions to your database. The O stands for online contacts in our new digital age, maybe social media contacts, and the goal is to move them up. You're either going to move them into C's, B's, A's, and A's pluses, or out to D's. We want to move these folks. And the D stands for people to be deleted from your database. Every farmer knows, I got weeds, I got crabgrass, and every realtor knows that I got weeds and I got crabby clients. And we're going to weed them out. Now, the thing is, when you only plant a couple seeds in your business, at the right time and in the right season, the chances of you having one crabby client, and that's the only client you have, is pretty high. So what happens? That becomes somebody that you don't enjoy serving. They take all your energy away and they have you thinking of getting out of the business. We have a French term for those kind of clients. We call them a jackass. Okay? So what we want to do is plant these seeds in these most fertile fields. Now, this used to take 6 months with a coach in our system. And then we developed the Referral Maker CRM. And now, on average, this went from being 6 months to 36 minutes. That's a good deal. Would you agree? Okay, part of the system. So, this database is the land. The seed is the lead generation activities. Okay, is everybody clear? And the way that takes hold in what we call the stacking effect. Now, this whole array here. Okay? Now let me talk to you a little bit about the stacking effect if I can for a second. You've heard of compound interest? Famous Irishman, Alberto Einstein. Okay? And he talked about compound interest being the 8th wonder of the world. And he said those who understand it, earn it, and those who don't, pay it. You want to get on the right side of the economic structure? That's what you got to do. Now, Albert Einstein realized that compound interest happened when you put your money to work with a certain rate of return over time. There were 3 aspects to it. Well, in our system, we have the same thing. Our stacking effect, which is like the compounding effect because it grows each and every year, has 3 things. It has a contact system, it has a care system, and it has a community system. So contact, write in care, and write in community. That's just like compound interest. So this would be the money you invest, this would be the rate of return, this would be the time. And in the law of the harvest, all of these activities right here are the seeds that you plant. Does that make sense? So you're planting these seeds. Planting these seeds. So the first seed you're going to plant is good old-fashioned mail. So we're going to send mail to our database. Nothing revolutionary there. Would you guys agree? So we're going to send our entire database something in the mail. Only for us, doing this 30 years, it can't be just any old thing in the mail. It can't be junk mail. It can't be just a newsletter. It can't be a picture with your face on it that makes you look so good your own mother doesn't recognize you type thing. Okay? The fact of it is what we teach is called items of value, where you're sending something in the mail that the recipient goes, oh, that's cool. Maybe information on how to protect themselves from identity theft. Maybe information on how to improve their credit score. On a real estate side, here's what to invest in as you're fixing up your home so that later on you get the maximum resale value. That's all helpful stuff. Would you guys agree? We send it in the mail. But as the infomercial says, wait, there's more, that's right. Now we're going to send out an e-report, which will be a complementary marketing piece that goes along with what we sent out in the mail. So we sent out information on identity theft. Now we might send out some live links, well produced. They go, click on here. You can actually take some steps to protect yourself from identity theft right now. Maybe change your passwords right now. We send out information in the mail about credit scores. We'll send out some live links on things they can do to improve their credit score immediately. So those are the kinds of things that we do. And it's this stacking effect. We have this wonderful farm here. We've laid down these seeds, and we're going to do it continually as opposed to trying to get it all at one time. Does that make sense? The next thing is we cultivate the people in our database. We're going to call. In 1876, Scottish immigrant Alexander Graham Bell invented this thing called a telephone. And in 1876, people were so excited. Well, look at this. They actually used to talk to one another on the telephone. Today, our telephones are a personal computer. They're our movie theater. They're our music center. They're our game center. They're our weapon of mass distraction center. But what we're actually going to do, we're trying to cultivate. We're farmers here. We're trying to cultivate relationships. Let me ask you this. Is there anybody you talk to on the phone that you're close to? Isn't that one of the ways you reach out to them? Okay. You ever call mom? You ever talk to dad? You ever talk to your spouse or friend or family? It's kind of how you cultivate a relationship. So we're going to call people, and we're going to start with people we know. Now, here's the thing you'll see. I'm not calling a lot of people because there isn't that much time. And people often get overwhelmed. I'm not working the system if I don't do everything. Now, what I will say is we like to supplement with video mail so that you can record a little message, and you can send that to everybody. Does that make sense? But you're only going to call a few. Your closest relationships. Start with the most fertile field. That's what the law of the harvest is all about. That's where you want to go. Contact. We mail. We send out e-reports. We do calls and videos. Now we want to switch gears and we want to do a little care. Right? When you've got crops growing, you want to care for them. The seeds are coming up through the ground. You want to care for this crop. Okay? And the number one way I know to care for people is to write in personal notes in my business. I do this in my family life too. Now, who would I write a note to? Would it be a D? Goodbye, jackass? Maybe for fun. But who would I send a note to? I would start with my very best people and then try to get a few more of these A's done. Now, by the way, that's success. Not all of this yellow. Not this is success. It's a stacking effect. It's a stacking effect. And we're cultivating these relationships. And our most fertile land is producing our biggest crop. Is everybody with me? Then we're going to pop by. Popping by means I'm going to see you face to face. This is a whole new concept. You want to build a relationship with somebody? Go see them. It's a pop by. Not a plop by, not a move in. Okay? It's a short little visit. Just bring in a little something, say hello, and we're going to go to our favorite people. We're not bringing by gold bars. Here's a great example of a pop by. Many of our members have, well, let's just say they've managed to accumulate a surplus amount of personal notes. How about that? So we thought a great way to go, get 10 notes, 10 envelopes, a little ribbon, and then we developed this little card that says, your referrals are always noteworthy. Okay? Go pop by people. Just see how they're doing. Go see them at work. Go see them at home. Pop by. How are you doing? Engage the conversation, and so on and so forth. Okay? If they're not there, leave it at the doorstep. Take a little photo and text it to them. Maybe it's the start of the year, and everybody's got New Year's resolution. Hey, your referrals are fuel my business. Here's a little protein shake to make a healthy snack, you know? That kind of stuff. Just popping by. It's a stacking effect. Not everything. People go, oh, this pop by, I have to deliver the cure for cancer. No, it's just bit by bit by bit by bit. It stacks, it stacks, it stacks. Are you guys with me? So what we've done here is we've taken the law of the harvest and the Pareto principle, sorted and qualified to see where the most fertile land is, and these are all the seeds that we're sowing. The contact system, well, that's like the watering that takes place on the field. The care, that's like the fertilizer that comes on top. And the community, that's like putting the sunshine to make all these crops grow. And the community is seeing people face to face by breaking bread, or maybe having a client party. Boom, boom, boom. Is it any wonder our clients earn 8 times the national average? Is it any wonder 1 out of every 8 homes in America is sold by less than 1% of these folks that we coach and train? Of course not. Now, the stacking effect works beautifully. The law of the harvest is a wonderful principle where you get to be an empowered giver. But there's one more thing, and it's the ABCs of real estate. Now, this has taken 30 years to discover, and we've put this together recently into a kind of a science of studying the data and the numbers, and it goes down to the energy of the A, which is the agent, the rhythm of the B, which is the business, and the seasonality of the C, which is the customer. The energy of the agent, the rhythm of the business, and the seasonality of the customer. Let me explain this. When you go to a seminar, if you ever buy something and you're up late, you have indigestion and you get the infomercial, and you buy the Buns of Titanium video, here's what they're going to promise you. We can get you up here. Maximum performance. You will be at 100%. And people see that, and they kind of want that, but they also roll their eyes. You know why? Because human beings like to self-preserve. By the way, if you live like this, you're heading for burnout. This is not how human beings exist. Human beings have energy waves. Is that true? Human beings have brain waves. Human beings, when they go to sleep, have sleep cycles, sleep patterns. You ever heard those terms? This is how human beings' energy works. And we've been coaching people for over 20 years. And we know how much to push somebody, and we know how when somebody needs to back off and rest, recover and recoup. Go hard, rest, recover, go hard again. Life is not a marathon. Life is a series of sprints with breaks. A best-selling book, The Power of Full Engagement by Tony Schwartz, proved this. Well, we've embodied it into our coaching program. The energy of the agent. You can't go all out all the time. Here's what's beautiful though. The energy of the agent actually happens to match up with what's called the rhythm of the business. The rhythm of the business looks like this. I'm going to say this is mid-January, and I'm going to say this here is mid-April. You guys with me? Alright. Here's what it looks like. You start out the year and you start doing the lead generation activities. Sowing those seeds. The stacking effect with those people in that soil, that nice rich soil. Here's what's going to happen. As you do this, through these first few months, you're going to get a few leads. And the leads are going to become sales. Everybody with me? Now what happens is, you'll hit a tipping point here, where all of a sudden, you do this big push here, all of a sudden you'll start seeing lead after lead after lead. Then it is important that you switch into transaction mode. You got these leads, now you got to show them the house. You got leads, you got to list those properties. You got leads, you got to put them together. You got to put the deals together, and you go into closing mode. This is the rhythm of the business. Does this make sense? Now you get down here, you're going to start having this. You're going to start having cash. Is cash a good thing? Okay. What has to happen in here is you need to rest and recover. Is this making sense to you? So we go hard, rest, and recover. Now it doesn't mean you stop here, or you take off for months. What it means is there'll be a trailing effect of these leads, but now you're here in April, go on spring break with your family. Go take a weekend or a week off. Go reward yourself by paying off a bill or a credit card. Go hard, rest, recover. Now here comes the next time, the summertime surge as we refer to it. And this is kind of mid-June to the end of July. Okay, right here. And the same pattern. And the same pattern. And the same pattern. And then you get to the end of the year where we always push people to finish strong. And this is a little longer season. And this